Warriors fans, how we doing? Golden State Warriors fans, Dub Nation, how we feeling? We doing good? It's been a little quiet, hasn't it? We got the NBA Finals going on right now, of course, right? Oklahoma City Thunder won. Indiana Pacers won. In a battle, first to four, right? I like how the NBA Finals has been going. I think that Halliburton dagger in the first game. How many Warriors fans? How many of you guys were like, hey, maybe we should have traded down and gotten Halliburton instead of picked up Wiseman? Look, hindsight's 2020, right? We can't control the past. We're having fun watching the NBA Finals, but hey, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors' future. Let's just schmooze a little bit, shall we? Right? Okay. So it's quiet on the Warriors front. Not a whole lot of news. I think that's interesting given that the draft is only a few weeks away. I'll tell you what, I would rather hear next to nothing from the Golden State Warriors front than negative Jonathan Kuminga chatter or Draymond or drama or anything like that. So I think that in this instance, no news is good news, especially because Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr., this is just my opinion. I don't think that he likes to really be put in any way. I think that he operates best from sort of a position of no pressure. And the good news is that the Jimmy Butler deal, just that one deal. Bad news is that the Warriors needed to make more than one deal. They always have needed to, right? The good news is that one deal really, really, really helped the squad. I think the Warriors were 23-7 post Jimmy Butler. So if we're looking at a healthy Butler, we're looking at a healthy Steph, and we're looking at a healthy Draymond, that's a good start. Are they aging? Are they old now, essentially? Yes, they're aging, for sure. So the Warriors are going to need to put the youth around them in order to compete again, but also put skill. I think that skill and players who are tried and true, even if they're not stars, I really would love a few of those players on the squad. I'll mention them later, though. In Warriors news, though, Draymond Green stated that at the trade deadline, Joe Lacob told Draymond Green that they were almost at a done deal for Kevin Durant. And that when the Luka trade was announced, Draymond Green was incredibly surprised because he thought that it was going to be announced, Kevin Durant to the Warriors. That's how close the Warriors were. Now, look, that's in the past. And do I think the Warriors are going to pursue Kevin Durant again? Absolutely not. I believe that the Kevin Durant ship has sailed. Unfortunately, I love KD, and he has the potential to get a few more rings on the Warriors if he joined right now. I don't think he's going to. I think that he has his eyes set in Texas or somewhere else. So, but I think Spurs, Houston make a lot of sense. Even the Minnesota Timberwolves. But here's the interesting thing. This is why C-Train, why are you mentioning a trade that didn't happen and mentioning it now? Funny you should ask. Great question. The fact that Joe Lacob, we're now asked, I'm going to critically think. So critically think with me real quick. We're back at the trade deadline. Joe Lacob tells Draymond Green, hey, we got a deal in place. We're going to get KD. And that's what he said. Okay, stop. That deal in place. Because look, you're telling Draymond that the deal's going to happen. Draymond's not included in the deal then. In my opinion, that deal would have dealt Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and draft capital for Kevin Durant. Now, we got to think about that. With that said, it's very interesting now that things are coming full circle, so to speak, that things are trending that Jonathan Kuminga re-signs with the Warriors. This was out last week. That things are trending that Jonathan Kuminga re-signs with the Warriors. Look, like I said, I have nothing against Kuminga. When he does play more than 20 minutes a game, the Warriors absolutely tend to lose. In fact, they never won in the playoffs when he played more than 20 minutes a game. And he did that for 5 games at least, right? So that's the concern I have. I love Kuminga's upside still, but I am way more tempered. I do not see the growth requisite of somebody who has a future as a perennial all-star in the league. And here's what I'll tell you with the arc, right? It's like, cool, Jonathan Kuminga finally got a couple 30-point games, but if you look at garbage time, 2022 playoffs against the Mavs and against the Grizzlies, look at Jonathan Kuminga and how he played. I dare you to tell me he hasn't regressed. I believe that Jonathan Kuminga has regressed since 2022. And that's a big statement, right? That's a big statement, and I back it up. Simply look at the garbage time in the 2022 playoffs. Look at what Jonathan Kuminga does. You're going to be like, oh no. He was amazing. He doesn't do any of those. He doesn't have any of those moves anymore. He doesn't do any of the, he's like completely changed his game, and it seems like it's regressed. It's for the worse, but I digress. It's just interesting that it seems that the Warriors were willing to let go of Kuminga so much that Joe Lacob essentially told Draymond Green that. So, and the reason I bring that up, of course, because Kuminga is now, it seems like, looking to re-sign with the Warriors, is what type of relationship is Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors going to have? Like Steve Kerr said that he would try to fit Kuminga in as another ball handler with another ball handler in the same offense as Jimmy Butler. I like that. That's well and good. But it's like Steve Kerr also said that that when you're looking to win games, Jonathan Kuminga is not one of the players who he is looking to put in on those front lines. And that is a critique. So this is what it is. This is what it is. Bottom line, I said this last video, is if Kuminga re-signs with the Warriors, no problem at all. They have to have the expectations, though, okay, of more of a when Swaggy P or Nick Young, when he signed with the Warriors, that's the type of expectations, right? So instead of going future all-star type stuff, the Warriors need to have, the Warriors fans, and I won't be let down if you lower Kuminga's expectations to that of like Buddy Hield. He could explode in one game and get you points, but also he can make some mistakes and hurt you in the next game. That's what Buddy Hield does, honestly, right? And I think that Buddy Hield's downside is I think that Buddy Hield is getting better at buying into the Warriors system and buying in on defense. And I think that there's a clear pathway that Kuminga can follow, right? But it will take Kuminga checking his ego, which I don't think can happen. I don't think Kuminga has surrounded himself with the people who will allow his ego to be in check and then thus allow him and the emotions to die down to then where he'll be able to critically think, right? And be like, look at my averages. Look at who I am right now. I need to reassess my value. And then with a fair assessment of my value and who I am in the league today, I need to go forward with that. And having that humility, I believe, will allow Jonathan Kuminga to thrive. Again, things are trending that Kuminga re-signs with the Warriors. And if he re-signs, I hear you. I hear that he could be traded come January, come trade deadline. You just can't think like that, honestly. You can't re-sign somebody to keep them and then trade them. You either sign and trade them or you re-sign them. And so I think that the Warriors were burned when they acquired Chris Paul. And then they just let his contract fizzle out, right? I just hope that the Warriors have a plan, whatever it is. But speaking of re-signing, it has just come out today that the Warriors are expected to hopefully re-sign GP2, Gary Payton II, and that it's going to hopefully be an amicable deal. The only deal that I would accept if I were the Warriors giving GP2 a deal is for the veteran minimum. GP2 averages right around 30 or so games played per season. The schedule is 82 games. And again, in his whole career, GP2 averages like 30 games played a season out of 82. It's less than half, right? He doesn't play a lot. He gets finicky. Even if it's in the playoffs, he'll still get he'll still be out for what seem like minor injuries, honestly. So if GP2 is here for the vibes because Steph likes him, if he's here to be a mentor at the very end of the bench and for a bench mob, I love that. I love that for GP2. But the value has to be there. And my assessment is that GP2 is a veteran minimum player who you cannot depend on to play more than half of the games, which means that he's an end of the rotation player. And I love that. And I hope that GP2 embraces that new role and hopefully new pay grade with the Warriors, because it has the potential to be a steal when we look at the big picture. Because GP2, right? He's depreciating as a player. He's not as good defensively as he once was. However, he is still good enough to successfully get role-playing minutes in a big-time game. That's a lot. So in my fair assessment of GP2, he still has that upside. I love that for an end of the bench at a veteran minimum. I love that. The Warriors are the betting favorites for Naz Reid. Yes. The betting favorites for Naz Reid, who's expected to opt out of his contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And oh my gosh, it would be the steal of steals. Getting Naz Reid he reminds me of the David West, Maurice Spates ilk, that style of player. He's tough, he's rugged, he's hard-nosed. However, he has range. He can hit the three-point shot, so he can spread the floor. Naz Reid solves so many of the Warriors' problems that it's sort of scary that that the Warriors are the front runner for the odds. I love it. And here, watch this. Just allow me to give you I'm gonna let you know. Just here's a little bit of vision, okay? This is the way the Warriors essentially can gain depth, gain experience, gain needs, and also gain youth. So I'm gonna of course, hey, C-Train's gonna give you a little mock trade, okay? Let's do this real quick. Because of course, Naz Reid is favored in the Warriors. So hey, let me just show you. Let me just enlighten you about what happens when you commit to a trade and then commit to making a better team. Watch. If the Warriors did something they could trade something to the gist of a re-signed Jonathan Kuminga for a re-signed Naz Reid and the 31st overall pick in the draft. So the Timberwolves get, and this is actually two trades that I'm about to break down. I love it. I love it because it's actually very feasible. It's realistic and it improves both squads. Let me break it down. So the Warriors are going to send a re-signed Kuminga for Naz Reid and the 31st overall pick in the draft. First pick in the second round, a coveted pick. And then the Warriors are going to trade their $8+ million exception, their trade exception, also in a separate trade, but it's all sort of related to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Warriors give a future first-round draft pick, and they get back Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Okay? So, now, so essentially, the Warriors have traded a re-signed Kuminga and a first-round draft pick for Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Oh, sorry. The total trade is the Warriors send out a re-signed Kuminga, their trade exception, and a future first-round draft pick. That's a big one right there. That future first is sort of the gimme. That's the trying godfather the T-Wolves. So those three things go out: Kuminga, first-round draft pick, and the exception. The Warriors get Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and the 31st overall draft pick in this draft. Now, with that, now that the Warriors have the 31st and 41st pick in the NBA draft, the Warriors pick with the 31st. He might not be there, but he's looking to be around there. He may go up, but he could fall. Guard, Walter Clayton from Florida. He is now your shooter. He has the potential. He can break down defenses. He's not the best at breaking down defenses, but look, he's a player that can score, has gravity, he can shoot, and he fits the Warriors system. I believe that Walter Clayton Jr. can play a very poor / homeless man Steph in the Warriors offense right now. So the Warriors get Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Walter Clayton, and with that 41st pick, Adu Thiero. He is a forward from Arkansas, and I compare him. His defensive upside is that of Toumani Camara and OG Anunoby, and this dude is an athlete and a physical freak. Sorry, in the best way, Adu Thiero is. So you get defense, energy, and more defense with that pick. And with Walter Clayton, you get your scoring guard off of the bench. Y'all, look, I traded out one player. I traded just Kuminga. And look at, of course, the 31st pick the Warriors already have. But look at the possibilities. Look at that. That's what happens when you combine capital, draft picks, exceptions, right? When you do that, and one quality player, look at the quality you can get back if you're looking to improve your squad right now. What did the Warriors just get? Naz Reid. They have their big man. Yo, Naz Reid is 25 years old. Naz Reid is like a kid. He is a pup. He isn't even in his prime. Naz Reid is only a few years older than Jonathan Kuminga. They still have almost like the same upside, right? They don't, but they still we're talking about pups here. So we get a young big who not only was like the sixth man of the year, he'll probably start with the Warriors. He spreads the floor. He can rebound a little bit. He can play tough defense. And he's a veteran, and he knows how to play. He can ball. He's got the basketball IQ. They get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who, if you're not paying attention, was like one of the better players in the Western Conference Finals, in all of the finals. He was one of the better players. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, you're getting a three-point shooter who plays tough defense, gritty defense, can make the right play and doesn't turn over the ball very much. He's also a decent free throw shooter. And then you get Adu Thiero, who I already talked about. That's the possibility, okay? I get it. Here's the thing. When you think about trading Kuminga and all that upside, I understand there's tons of upside. Jonathan Kuminga put the Warriors on his back for like a few games during the regular season, right? He thrashed Houston in the regular season, right? But when you look at the return and the overall, how those overall complementary pieces help the Warriors win right now and also for the future, look, I think that we're talking about some moves that are feasible and that really improve the Warriors. I just don't think it's calculable how much, no offense, but the addition by subtraction Kuminga would have, and this is truly no offense, but when you get a player who knows exactly what they're doing and plays within themselves and already has their role and structure and is confident in that, I think that you would see though they will flourish next to Stephen Curry in the Warriors offense on that squad. What do you think of the Naz Reid trade? Seriously, what do you think of that trade? It's a tough, I know, it's difficult, right? You're not trading Kuminga for a star or anything like that. It is a practical trade. It gets the Warriors applicable pieces that all also have upside. What do you think in the Minnesota trade? Tell me in the comments. And of course, for your Golden State Warriors content, like, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you next time. at C Train Station. See you next time. Have a great one, and thanks for watching.